Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a Kentucky man says he's still seeking justice for his mother's murder. And the Education Department will temporarily bring back hundreds of federal workers placed on administrative leave. We'll tell you why.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Welcome to Mountain News This Morning. I'm Caroline Mueller, here with you on this Monday, December 8th. The time is now 6 a.m. and we're going to go ahead and check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we had a pretty nice weekend, I would say. I mean, while it was cold, enjoyed the clear weather.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It was nice to see the sun pop out just a little bit on my Sunday afternoon. But in terms of the start to this week, unfortunately, that calm trend is coming to an end. Let's start off first by talking about those temperatures. You're going to notice a pretty large range, low 30s for our northern counties and low 40s for our southern counties. I want you to keep in mind that these temperatures that we are seeing right now are the warmest temperatures of the day. We'll just continue to see those temperatures dropping throughout the next several hours. We're under a winter weather advisory for all counties highlighted in purple as we're looking at a chance of wintry mix and snow for the start of your week. Here's a look right now at satellite and radar. By about 9 o'clock, we'll see that transition into fully snow chances, and by the evening will be nice and clear, looking at partly cloudy skies overnight. Caroline.
Thank you, Megan. A Kentucky man says he's still seeking justice for his mother's murder 40 years later. Randy Height was sentenced to death for killing Patricia Vance and David Omer in Garrett County. But decades later, the execution hasn't been carried out. Vance's son David was 9 when the murders happened. He says the wounds never fully healed.
I had to fight with depression, anxiety, other issues, especially emotional issues. Now I've gotten, I'm 50 years old now, and I'm still no better off now than I was when it happened. I don't want to sound bad by saying this, but I want to be there. I want to see the look in this man's eyes when he goes.
We reached out to Governor Andy Beshear and Attorney General Russell Coleman for comment on the case. A spokesperson for the governor said there are several things keeping the state from resuming executions, including a 2010 injunction, and the state doesn't have the necessary drugs. AG Coleman said his office wants to resume executions and is, quote, standing up for victims and their families. You can find the full statements on our website, WYMT.com. The man accused of planting bombs in Washington, D.C. the night before the January 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol believed the 2020 election was stolen, according to people briefed on the matter. Those sources say that what the suspect, 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr., told the FBI during interviews. Cole's arrest Thursday follows a nearly 5-year investigation. The FBI believes Cole gathered bomb-making supplies for months before leaving the explosive devices outside of the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters. Cole made his first court appearance Friday and did not enter a plea. Leading Democrats on Capitol Hill are demanding the release of classified video showing a deadly U.S. military strike on a boat carrying 11 people in the Caribbean in early September. A debate is growing over the second strike that killed 2 survivors. On CBS's Face the Nation, Representative Jim Himes, the House Intelligence Committee's top Democrat, said it appeared the survivors no longer posed a threat before the follow-up strike.
I think it's really important that people see what it looks like when the full force of the United States military is turned on 2 guys who are clinging to a piece of wood and about to go under.
Early September.
It seems pretty clear they don't want to release this video because they don't want people to see it, because it's very, very difficult to justify.
Hegseth did not say whether the video of the second strike would be released, but said a review is underway. The ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas will soon enter its next phase, but the terms of what comes next aren't exactly clear. Israel is pushing for the disarmament of Hamas, while Hamas is asking for a path to Palestinian statehood. Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas is nearly 2 months old, and supplies and food are finally getting into Gaza. But some people are just getting their first rations. This is the first aid box I've received in the last 5 to 6 months, said this refugee. We live amidst the rubble, not in houses or tents. As the delicate peace holds, both sides are focused on what comes next.
We are welcoming a UN force to be near the borders, supervising the ceasefire agreement.
Some Hamas leaders say in the next phase of the agreement, they are ready to discuss freezing or storing weapons. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is calling for full disarmament and eventually the dismantling of Hamas itself.
There's a third phase, and that is to de-radicalize Gaza.
Hamas still must hand over the remains of one final hostage, a 24-year-old Israeli police officer. But once that's complete, it will mark a milestone in the first phase. The Prime Minister said he'll meet with President Trump soon to discuss next steps, including the role for a multinational security force. One hopeful sign of change, for the first time in 2 years in Bethlehem, Christmas celebrations were held in the place Christians believe Jesus was born.
Kids are so happy. For 2 years they didn't see anything like this.
A season of hope as two sides search for the next steps for peace. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Both Israel and Hamas have accused the other side of periodically violating the ceasefire. Over the weekend, Arab officials said they expect an international body led by the U.S. overseeing the ceasefire to be appointed by the end of the year. CNN has learned the Education Department will temporarily bring back about 250 federal workers placed on administrative leave last March. The department is bringing back the workers while the federal government fights efforts in the courts to cut jobs at the agency. An agency spokesperson said while that court fight plays out, it will use all of its employees to get the agency's work done. That includes several workers in the department's Office for Civil Rights. A panel of advisors appointed by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is recommending a major change in the vaccination schedule for infants. They voted to end the long-standing hepatitis B vaccination schedule for babies. Gwen Baumgardner has more from Los Angeles.
A health precedent for decades came under fire Friday when a federal vaccine advisory committee decided to end guidance that all U.S. babies should get a hepatitis B vaccine on the day they're born.
The motion passes.
The panel now recommends parents wait at least 2 months to immunize babies with a low risk of contracting hepatitis B. The vaccine is still recommended at birth for babies whose mothers test positive or who weren't tested.
Parents should carefully think about whether they want to take the risk of giving another vaccine to their child.
The vote was 8-3, with several members voicing strong objections.
This has a great potential to cause harm, and I simply hope that the committee will accept its responsibility when this harm is caused.
In adults, the virus is spread through sex or through sharing needles, but it can also be passed from an infected mother to a baby. Since the vaccine recommendation was issued in 1991, the number of children infected with Hep B dropped from 16,000 to under 20 reported cases a year.
Doctors have watched the debate closely, many saying the new recommendation could reverse decades of progress in preventing infections that can lead to liver cancer.
It is really just disrupting for disrupting's sake. And this is going to help no one. It's just them checking another box on the anti-vaccine movement's checklist.
Senate Republican Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, who is also a doctor, urged the acting director of the CDC to reject the new guidance. On Friday, major medical groups, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, criticized the decision, saying it will harm children. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
CBS News reports that parents who want to get their child vaccinated can still do so after consulting with their doctor, and insurance companies will likely pay for it. The acting CDC head will decide whether to accept the committee's recommendation at a later date.
we're still watching a mixture of cold, rain, wintry mix and snow as you're beginning off your day. Here's a look at satellite and radar. The farther north you are right now is the higher chance that you'll be seeing some flurries. The farther south, the higher likelihood that you're still looking at that cold rain. Now, temperatures will be cooling down throughout the day, so those rain chances will be transitioning into snow throughout the next several hours, with temperatures right now in a mixture of the low 30s for our far northern counties and the low 40s for our more southern counties. As I mentioned, temperatures are dropping, and by the time we head to 10 o'clock, we're looking at those low 30s taking over, and you'll notice the chance of snow tapering out as we're heading throughout the afternoon. Caroline.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. Coming up, we'll introduce you to a car enthusiast and his latest creation, one inspired by National Lampoon's Vacation.